All right, guys, we are going to go into Photoshop for graphic design portion of Foundations. And we kind of started a theme when we were in school, which was the water crisis. So we're going to continue that for the first project. You're going to do a couple projects and then have an open-ended project to where you can kind of do what you want. So this first one is we're going to open up a brand new document that's 18 inches long by 12 tall. So we go up to File, New. And when that pops open, we're going to go to the right side. If you want to start it off with, hit the print button. And then over here on the width, we're going to do 18. Make sure it's inches. And the height, 12. It should have default to 300 pixels per inch. So we're going to go ahead and keep it the 12 by 18. So do that. We go ahead and hit create. It's going to create this document like so. The first thing I want to do is, if you remember how to use Photoshop, we're going to use the type tool, and it's over here on the left side. If we zoomed in there, I don't know if we're able to. There we go. Zoomed into the T for type. Remember, we do not draw boxes. We're just going to click and type. Now, I do want you to grab a bold, big bold font and type in water. Now, I'm using, if you look up here, it's called Built Titling. I downloaded it probably off DaFont. Remember, you can go to dafont.com and download fonts that you wish, but I need something big and bold. We could highlight this. I know one off the bat is Impact Font. It's a default on Photoshop. You could use that one, but I'm actually going to undo that. And let's see. I'm going to go back to the last one that I did because I kind of like that look. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this as big as I can get it. Not as big, but as wide as I can get it. Like so. Hit enter. Now I've got a large font. Now, one thing I want you to notice is make sure that this is selected, the auto select, and show transform controls. When I'm on the selection tool here, I want to make sure those two are selected. With that being done, is now I can go through and I can move these. I can change the size without having to worry about them. If I turn that off, I can't change the size of that corner. So make sure you do that. Once I get it, I'm going to place it towards the center. I'm going to copy this, and to copy it is I'm going to hold Option. If you notice in the middle of my screen, I'm holding, Command 0. If I hold Option, that double arrow pops up. Or I can come over here, select on my layer, and come down to the new layer button. If you notice, it says Water Copy. Now I can just drag it down straight below, hit the T, and then I'm going to type Crisis. That's not how you spell it. Come on, goody. Perfect. Now, if you notice, they're not exactly the same size. I want them to be as much as the same as possible. So I'm doing this by holding Shift so it doesn't go up and down. It's just going to the side to side when I stretched it. Now, it's pretty close. It's probably not exactly perfect, but I'm going to get it eyeball perfect. Once I do that, the cool thing is I could highlight both of these, and towards the top, you'll have this align horizontal. If I click it, if you notice my screen, it jumped to the center. Now, I'm just going to leave it as that. Make sure you eyeball it to center. If for some reason I did not have a bold font, for example, I'm going to go ahead and pick something super tiny. This will not work for what we're doing. All right, let's just hit the down arrow. Click what I'm doing. Okay. I did this font right here, or even this one, I'm not going to get anything worth using. So I'm going to go ahead and undo that. I want a big, thick font. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start placing photos. I'm going to think of a background. You watch those videos, you talked about placement, you talked about alignment, it talked about white space, contrast, color, talked about some basic concepts. Well, I'm going to use color palette, and I'm going to go with orange and reds for the background, and then I'm going to do something else in the middle. So in the background, I want it to stand out a little bit. So I'm going to go to the internet. I want you to do things that are water related. So I typed in a water crisis. Now I'm also going to show you I did before. Let's do one more back. I've already got the image, but it's not coming across. Not a big deal. I typed in water crisis or water dry desert, and I found an image that I wanted to use on the background, and hopefully now I'll show you. I've already got one started. It looks similar to this. This is gonna be my background. If you notice, it's a landscape. It's a dry desert with the sky in the background. And what it did is it came in something about this big. So you go to the internet, find what you want. Let's say it's this one. You drag it over, and it comes in like this. Now, it's not the best way to do it, but we're doing what we can right now. Instead of going into complete detail, this is how we're going to do it. But if you notice, this is in front of the water crisis. We want it to be behind. Okay, so all I got to do is go over here to my layer palette and drag it from here underneath crisis and water. Now you know it's behind. I'm going to hit delete because I don't want that one. I want this one. Okay, wrong button. I want this one. So I'm going to drag it over here, and it's going to go exactly where I wanted it, which is behind crisis and water, and it's on a layer by itself. Command minus, I can zoom out a little so you can see. But if you noticed over here, when it comes in, it's going to be 100%. Okay, I'm going to back that off some, just in my preference, just so I can, it's not as powerful as it was before. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to create, I'm going to go ahead and do something. I like when things touch. Sometimes. We'll see what this looks like. It kind of doesn't match up. So I might, if you remember, it talked about lines. I might even come in here and draw a rectangle, which is essentially a line. Okay, get black. I don't know if this will work or how it's going to look, but I'm trying stuff. I'm looking at it. It's not too bad. We'll see how it comes across in the final product. We can always delete that. If you notice, it is over here. It's on top now. I'm going to leave it at top. I'm going to show you what we're doing next. So once we have a background, we've got water crisis done, then I'm going to start filling images up. And I've already started one. I've got 3 that I picked from just the internet. I'm going to select all 3 and we'll drag them over just so I can show you. I got these 3. Let's say I go online and I find one. Let's use this one. So I have this one. If you notice, I'm going to come over here. I'm going to click and drag. Some of these you can do this, some you cannot. If it doesn't let you, you can't do it. They've got copyright protection on it, and it's their photos, not ours, so we're just kind of dealing with what we have. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, and I'm going to put it on parts of the W. I only want this photo to go inside the W. Okay, so what I need to do is I hit enter to solidify my changes. So if I make it bigger or smaller, I have to hit enter or push this check mark. Enter is a lot easier. Now I can work with this. So I'm going to go to my water, and I want to put this layer 3 above water. So again, I'm over here on this side. I put my layer 3 above water. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on layer 3. I'm going to right click, which if you don't have a mouse, I have a mouse right now, so it actually has a right click. If you don't, you just hit control, click. And what I want to do is I want to create clipping mask. Okay. Create a clipping mask. So if you noticed over here, see if I can get there, it says this photo that I had only shows up where water is. So if you notice over here, it's only showing up where the water is. Now, I might not like this over here, but I'm going to try one more thing. I'm going to do this. I'm going to make a collage of photos with the words water crisis. So now this is layer 5. See, I can see that. I'm going to bring it underwater, or layer 3. There it is, layer 3, but I want this on top of layer 5. So if you notice, I have 2 of them pointing down to water. Now I can move 3 on top of 5, but if you remember, I wanted this one right here on top of this one. So I need to move these back and forth. So 5 is on top of 3. Okay, we're going to do this until we finish the entire document. So let's just say this is one of them. Pull this down on top of layer 5. And I need to right click. Actually, I can pull it down on top of water, and it does that for me. And then I'll bring it on top of 5. So I'm actually going to probably leave this here because I think I'm going to like it. When I get the C done, I'm going to put this in front of the C. I'm going to go in front of crisis, right click, create clipping mask. I think this line will stand out really cool looking. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it just like that. There's more we can do. We can go on the word water, double click. I can add a stroke to it. If you notice, what it's doing is it's adding a line around it. Right now it's white. I can choose any color that I wish. I think white's going to do it. I think white's going to stand out for right now. I'm just going to leave it for white, and then I can move my pixels up. But if I do something here, I got 27 outside pixels for the stroke. I'm going to probably do it for crisis. Right click. Now I could have copied this one. Right click, which is control click. I could copy layer style right here, and then come up to crisis and paste layer style. And then I can go to my rectangle, do the same thing. Oops, cancel. I'm gonna right click, paste layer style. So all of them are the same. That's if I wanted to do that. I don't have to. I don't particularly like this one. I might change it to outside, inside. Same with these others. I might go up and change them to inside instead of outside, so it looks a little cleaner. I could have done it for one, copied and pasted again, but I'm gonna go ahead and leave it like that. So now I'm starting to create this water crisis using photos. When I'm done, I should have the word water and crisis all photos. I'm gonna leave my rectangle here. I could, if I don't like it, take off my effects or make them a little bit smaller. We'll know when we're completely done if we need something. I think we're going to need something to stand out. If you notice, these two blend together. So It might not be this exact stroke. It could be something completely smaller, like so. It could be a glow, it could be a drop shadow. There's all kinds of things we can do with it by double clicking on this area right next to the word. So this is number one. We're going to do Water Crisis exactly like this. We're going to save it as a JPEG. So when we're finished, we're going to go File. We're going to go Save As. This is when we're completely done. If you're not done, just leave it as Photoshop. Title it Water Crisis. I did it again. Water Crisis, just like that. Save it to your desktop, your documents, your Mr. Goody folder, however you wish. Hit Save. When you're done editing and when you're ready to turn it in, you're going to go up to File. As soon as this is done, it's taking a minute, looks like. Hope it didn't freeze on me, but you're going to go up to File. Oh, it's on the wrong screen. This will pop up, hit Okie dokie. Now it's saving, as you can tell right there. It's done. Go up to File, Save As, and then change this to JPEG and leave it just like that. It will come up with a box option. Just hit maximum, full JPEG quality, hit okie dokie, and then now you have the document you can turn in. Okay, send these to me, and then we'll go from there on your next project.